So for this example, we want to know for what values of x does the following power series converge and what is the radius of convergence. So we are looking for the interval of convergence as well as the radius of convergence. And if you look at this series, because we have an x plus 3 term raised to the n power, that means that this series is centered at x equals negative 3. In other words, it's shifted. We have a shift to the left of 3 units from the origin. And that's where the infinite polynomial and the function might converge to each other. We're not going to find the function this time because this is not a geometric series. What makes it not geometric is this n right here. If it were just x plus 3 to the n over 4 to the n, that would be geometric with a common ratio of x plus 3 over 4. But because we have that other n in front, this is not a geometric series. So let me rewrite that. This was n times x plus 3 to the n over 4 to the n. So anytime we do not have a geometric power series, we're going to use the ratio test to find the interval of convergence. And so to do that, we're going to have to set up the limit as n approaches infinity of the absolute value of the n plus first term of the series divided by the nth term of the series. And you might recall that if, let's call this ratio rho, if this ratio rho is less than 1, we will know that the series converges. If the ratio rho, whenever it's greater than 1, the series diverges. And when the ratio is equal to 1 in the limit, the test fails. So let's go ahead and start carrying this out. I'm just going to make a note that since the ratio test uses absolute value, we don't need to worry about the negative 1 to the n because absolute value of negative 1 is 1. So we won't need to worry about that part of the nth term of the series. So let's go ahead and set this up. And we're going to write our limit as n approaches infinity. Absolute value, the n plus first term, I'm going to obtain by plugging in n plus 1 in place of n into our nth term. So that means we're going to have an n plus 1 in place of n, then x plus 3 to the power of n plus 1, divided by 4 to the power of n plus 1. That's my n plus first term, and the ratio test tells us we have to divide this by the nth term, which we already know what that looks like. It's n times x plus 3 to the nth power over 4 to the nth power. And I'm going to be working on simplifying this ratio. And then we'll take the limit at the end. So let's start simplifying. I'm going to rewrite this. And since we're dividing by a fraction, I'm going to write this as a product of the numerator times the reciprocal of the denominator. So we're going to have n plus 1 times x plus 3 to the n plus 1 divided by 4 to the n plus 1. And now I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal of the denominator. So we're going to have 4 to the n over n times x plus 3 to the nth power. Now I need to start simplifying, and I'm going to apply some of the rules of exponents that we already saw when we worked with the ratio test before. So the numerator of the left-hand fraction will stay n plus 1, but I can split this x plus 3 to the n plus 1 as x plus 3 to the nth power times x plus 3 to the first power, since when we multiply something with the same base, we add the exponents. I can do the same thing to 4 to the n plus 1. I'm going to write that as 4 to the n times 4 to the first power. That's going to help me cancel out diagonally some of the terms within my ratio test, within the ratio test. So now, you know, this is my favorite part. We're going to start canceling some things out. I can see that an x plus 3 to the n will cancel out, and 4 to the n will cancel out. So let's rewrite what we've got. We have the limit as n approaches infinity. In the numerator, in the absolute value, I have an n plus 1 times x plus 3. In the denominator, I have 4n. Now, x plus 3 does not depend on n growing large. Neither does this 4. So we're about to take the limit as n goes to infinity, but I'm going to factor out of the limit the x plus 3 and the 4 because those terms are not affected by n growing large. So taking the limit as n goes to infinity does not change x plus 3, and it doesn't change the number 4. So I'm going to pull that out in absolute value outside of the limit as an x plus 3 over 4. Then we still have the limit as n approaches infinity, absolute value n plus 1 over n. Now, notice here that the dominant terms of this fraction, both in the numerator and denominator, have a highest power of 1. So this, in the limit, is going to tend to the ratio of the coefficients, which is just 1. So we're left with absolute value x plus 3 over 4. This is the result. This is our row from the ratio test. Now remember that the ratio test tells us that whenever that ratio is less than 1 in absolute value, or between negative 1 and 1, we have convergence. So let's set up that inequality. Our series will converge if or whenever x plus 3 over 4 is less than 1 or greater than negative 1. This is the ratio from the ratio test. And this is going to help me find the interval of convergence of the series, right? So we're going to find the interval of convergence by solving here for x. So the first thing I'm going to do to solve the inequality for x is multiply everything by 4. So we'll have minus 4 is less than x plus 3 less than 4. And now I'm going to subtract 3 from every term in the inequality. So we'll have a negative 7 is smaller than x, smaller than 1. This is our interval of convergence. If I look at it on the number line, as we did in the previous example, here's my number line. Negative 7 to 1 is our interval of convergence. Remember, our center is at negative 3, which is halfway between those endpoints. And so our radius of convergence is going to be half of the length of the interval. So the radius of convergence is always positive. It's equal to 4. Remember, just recall that this is going to be half the length of the interval of convergence. And our interval of convergence here from negative 7 to 1 has a length of 8. So we have found the interval, we have found the radius of convergence, but there's one more thing we need to do. We might recall that when the result of the ratio test gives us 1, the test is inconclusive. or the ratio test fails. We have that issue at the endpoints of the interval of convergence. If we go back to this expression, x plus 3 over 4, and imagine plugging in one of the endpoints, 1. When you put 1 here, 1 plus 3 is 4, 4 divided by 4 is 1. Rho is going to give us the number 1. And when I put negative 7 in, rho will also be 1. So at the endpoints, we don't know how the series behaves. So that means we have to test the endpoints back into the original series in place of x, because we don't know what happens at the endpoints. The ratio test doesn't tell us that. So we're going to test those endpoints back into the original series. So we need to see what happens when x is 1 and when x is negative 7. Those are the two endpoints of our interval of convergence. So I'm going to go ahead and write the series one more time. Our original series looked like this. Sum from n equals 0 to infinity. We had an alternating piece, and then n times x plus 3 to the nth power over 4 to the n. And now I'm going to put in x equal 1 to see whether I can tell whether the series converges or diverges, because we're testing the endpoint since the ratio test fails at the endpoints. So if I put x equal 1 here, we're going to get sum from n equals 0 to infinity of negative 1 to the nth power. We have an n. I'm putting in 1 for x, so we have a 1 plus 3 to the nth power over 4 to the n. Well, let's see what series this gives us. This is going to give us the series that we're used to seeing with no x values in them, but we can use any of the tests that we've developed to figure out whether this converges or diverges. Notice that we have a 4 to the n in the numerator and a 4 to the n in the denominator, and those will cancel out. So now we just have sum from n equals 0 to infinity of negative 1 to the n times n. Okay, if I write out some of the terms here, this series, when n is 0, we get 1. When n is 1, we get minus 1. When n is 2, we get plus 2, minus 3, plus 4, minus 5, and so on. This is going to fail the alternating series test. So this is really a divergent series, because by the nth term test, this series, the limit is not going to go to 0. So the nth term test will tell us that this series diverges because the limit as n approaches infinity of negative 1 to the n times n will either be plus or minus infinity depending on whether n is even or odd. So at x equal 1, the series will diverge. So right now, our interval of convergence was negative 7 less than x less than 1, and we know that at 1, at that endpoint, the series diverges. The last thing we need to do is to check what happens when x is negative 7. And so we're going to do that next. When x is negative 7, I'm going to plug in negative 7 in place of x into our original series. We still have the alternating part. Then we've got negative 7 plus 3 to the n over 4 to the n, which we can simplify. So we have n equals 0 to infinity, negative 1 to the n, negative 7 plus 3 is negative 4 to the n, over 4 to the n. I'd like to be able to cancel 4 to the n, but to do that, I need to think of negative 4 to the n as negative 1 times 4 to the n, where both negative 1 and 4 are raised to the nth power. that's going to allow me to cancel out the 4 to the n. So here we have negative 1 to the n, another negative 1 to the n, the 4 to the n, over 4 to the n. Oops, and I missed the n, didn't I? There's an n here that I forgot. Times n. 4 to the n's cancel. These two, we have the same base. When you add n plus n, we get 2n, and negative 1 to the 2n is always positive because 2n is even, always. So this is the series that we have. Just n. That means if I write it out, it's 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. This has to diverge, and it will diverge by the nth term test, because if I take the limit as n approaches infinity of n, that will be just infinity. So this will diverge by the nth term test. And so our final interval of convergence is just negative 7 less than x less than 1. We had to test the endpoints because the ratio test fails at the endpoints, but this diverges at both endpoints. And now we have found the interval of convergence of our power series, as well as the radius of convergence, which we found earlier to be 4. That is half the length of the interval of convergence.